Our keynote speaker is someone who has more than 2 decades of experience. He has 14 patents to his name. He is the program director and site leader for IBM Cyber Security in Gift City. Dr. Rinkesh Bansal, can I please have you on stage? Thank you.
Again, good morning, everyone. I hope everyone at the back also can hear me. I hope you can see me as well. So I will start with a very warm welcome to all of you for this event, this prestigious event. Thanks, Mehul and Dijesh, for kicking off the event. And thanks for introducing me. Let's start with a very important topic which is often ignored, security in cloud. What do you mean by security? So we are the chowkidars of the cloud. We don't hold the danda in the cities, but we do protect your cloud or any infrastructure as well. So let's first talk about the basics of security. CIA, this is not the American CIA organization. This is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. This is the basic tenets of any security. So let's talk about what is confidentiality. And again, if there is no Murphy, we are not called developers, so something is not working. Next button is confidential, so we are keeping the data confidential here.
It's not working.
Not working.
And just what next?
No. Again, so what do we mean by confidentiality? Anyone? So we'll try to keep it interactive. Anyone can tell me what is confidentiality? So we want to keep our data protected from the bad entities, unauthorized entities. That is called confidentiality. And how do we protect our data from unknown and unintended entities? The best mechanism is encryption. So we encrypt our data, we we hide our data. That is confidentiality. Everyone is having door in front of their houses. You are trying to maintain the confidentiality of your house, right? We are keeping the doors closed so that people outside who have no business in our houses know that what is happening inside our houses. That is confidentiality in layman terms. Second is integrity. So we keep our data private, thank you. And we talk about integrity. What do you mean by integrity? It is my data is untempered, my data is trustworthy, right? If I am basically sending some data from here to somewhere else, that data basically went as I wanted it to go. And people are able to read it, there is no doubt about it, but they are not been able to change my data. That is integrity, okay? It is not accidentally or intentionally modified. And in whole completeness, it went that way. Last but most often misunderstood is availability. So these are the three tenets of security. Availability is whenever I want to access my data, I should be able to use it. Right now I am standing here. How do I basically protect my data? How do I basically ensure that when I am delivering this session, I am able to deliver that thing in a comfortable manner? If my data is not available, I am losing the business here. I am losing my security here. So availability is all my functions, all my data should be available when I wanted it to use, okay? Some other important terms you will come across when we talk about cloud, when we talk about security. These days, security is on the rise. You will hear about these terms. So let's understand those terminologies as well. Vulnerabilities. What is vulnerability? We keep on saying, oh, there is a vulnerability in my system. Vulnerability is nothing but the weakness. Okay, a weakness in your system, a flaw in your system, which anyone can exploit to harm your system. Okay, this is simple bugs. You introduce bugs in your system, those are vulnerabilities in your system. You don't patch your softwares. There isn't software, there isn't a firewall port open in your network. That is a vulnerability. Okay, threats. Threat is anyone who is trying to use these vulnerabilities to exploit my system, to harm my system, is the threat. Threat could be this entity could be a system or it could be a person. Okay? Examples of threats are malwares, ransomwares. I will not call them hackers, I will call them attackers, crackers, the bad entities who are trying to enter my system without my permission. Risks. We all take risks day in, day out. We took risk coming here, traveling through the road. There is always some vulnerabilities, there is always some threats who are trying to harm us. The risk is a monetary loss to my business or reputation, PR loss to my business. Simply, I can basically define risk as threat multiplied by vulnerability. So if bad entities are able to exploit those weaknesses in my system and able to harm me or my organization, that is the risk. And there are something we call challenges. So challenges are something which are the inhibitors, which is stopping my organizations from mitigating those risks. Are we clear about those terms? So these are some of the terms we use in a day-to-day manner. I just wanted to put a proper definition to those words. Let's talk about risks and mitigation, top risks and mitigation in cloud industry. So attack surface with cloud, our attack surface has increased. When I'm holding a mobile phone, I am able to access that mobile phone. I need to protect only the access part of my mobile phone. My attack surface is very limited. When I'm in on-prem servers, only my organization people can access it. But when we are on cloud, my attack surface has increased drastically. So that is a bigger challenge on cloud when we are talking about the attack surface. So this is the bigger risk for us. Human error. Everyone knows about Gartner, right? They basically do the study, they evaluate the systems, organizations. Gartner predicted that 99% of the security failure mishaps which happen is having some element of human error involved in it. Now, are we trying to basically eliminate all humans here? No. We are just trying to add more and more controls there so that humans are able to do their job properly without making mistakes. In case they are innocently making the mistakes, they should not be able to. So that's what we do. As a developer, we basically add controls. Okay, we add basically validations. Those are how we basically help our human users not to make mistake. Misconfigurations. Now we are in so many CSPs, cloud service providers. Each and every cloud service providers are coming up with millions of configuration. Today I am using Google, they are having millions of configuration. Tomorrow I will start using AWS. They are having their own millions of configurations as well. And now, if as a user, we don't use only one cloud, we use multiple clouds. And these configurations are confusing. So if we misconfigured any of the system, hackers are able to use those misconfigurations to enter your system and harm your organization or you. Data breaches. Through all the three first topics which we talked about, people basically try to breach your data. When we talk about breaching your data, unauthorized user is able to access your data or temper your data. CIA we talked about, the same rules apply here. So some people in an unauthorized manner is able to use your data, that is called data breach. How do we basically mitigate those risks or this top risk which we talked about? First, we do a proper assessment of our network, our application regularly. It's not a one-time job that, oh, I did the scan once, I'm done. No, it's a continuous job. World is evolving. We all are talking about Gen AI now. People are using Gen AI and attackers are using Gen AI to breach into the system to discover new vulnerabilities in your system. So you need to keep on discovering those things, keep on assessing those threats and keep on remediating those as well. Proper risk management. We always talk about mitigating the risks or transferring the risk is just buying the insurance. There is a risk, yes. How do I transfer that? I just buy an insurance for that thing. Mitigate, I try to resolve that issue. Eliminate those risks as well. That means avoiding those risks. There is a risk of an accident on road. I don't go out of my house. I'm avoiding the risk. Many times that is not a possibility. And certain times we have to accept the risk as well. Yes, there is a risk when I'm coming here on road. I accepted that risk. I'm driving here. I'm accepting that risk. So certain times accepting a risk is also a valid option for you. And basically we apply a lot of security controls, firewalls, different applications to mitigate those risks. Let's proceed further. We talked about risks. Now let's talk about threats. Who are the top threats for our organization or for our cloud? Zero-day vulnerabilities. A new vulnerability is identified. by someone. There are a lot of good hackers, white hat hackers available who basically discovers the vulnerabilities and they disclose to the world. This term came into picture because of Microsoft. Because Microsoft used to basically provide the security patches on a particular day, and that day all the hackers are patiently waiting for Microsoft to disclose those vulnerabilities. As soon as they do that, they identify those things, they go and they start exploiting those, knowing that organizations are slow. Organizations are going to take some time to basically resolve those vulnerabilities. So they basically start exploiting on the day when it is discovered. That's the reason the term came as in zero-day vulnerabilities. How to basically keep abreast with those vulnerabilities as well. APTs are very interesting. These are very smart hackers, smart crackers, entities which sit in your system for a prolonged period of time, exploiting your system in a very slow and small manner without attracting a lot of attention from the organizations. They may remain in system for years without organizations knowing about them. Insider threat. So as per one of the studies, 68% of the hacking happened because of insider threat. We always think about hackers or crackers are people who are sitting in a dark room, wearing a hoodie, trying to breach into my system. It doesn't happen that way. There are people like us. Most of the hacking happened because of the insider threat. My manager did an appraisal. He basically bashed me in an appraisal. I'm not happy. I do some mishap in the organization now, taking my revenge. That is how most of the time hacking happens. Cyber attacks. So biggest attack which happens on cyber security or on your cloud is a DDoS attack. I deprive your system of the resources. I attack your system from all different angles so that right entity is not being able to reach that particular point. Let's say you want to stop your friend from reaching airport. What will you do? You start sending guests to his house just before he is about to leave. Or you basically block the elevator. You send a lot of people using that elevator, that person will not be able to use the elevator. You basically create the chaos on road so that this person is not being able to reach the airport. That is the DDoS attack in simple terms. Just to mitigate those, defense in depth. So one defense is not enough. Only one security aspect is not enough. We need to create multiple defenses so that if someone breaches first point, they are blocked at the next point. Yes, something is lost, but not everything. So defense in depth is required. Threat hunting, continuous threat hunting, continuous configurations. We need to keep on checking our configurations. Regular patching. How many of you basically patch your mobile phones recently? How many of you are on the top version of your operating system? A lot of people are raising their hands. So this is what, and a lot of people are not raising. So I see like almost 50% people have patched their systems properly. 50% they are vulnerable right now because there are certain security risks which are there, hackers can exploit here. Let's talk about, this is not working, guys.
It's very interesting. Why not?
So let's talk about the challenges, top challenges with the organization as well. Okay? So the biggest challenge right now organizations, any cloud organization are facing is the skilled resources. Okay? Now, we are talking about cybersecurity, which is a very elite group of people knowing about the internals of network, internals of the cloud. These resources are very less in market right now. And because of lack of skills, attackers are able to exploit the system.
Oops.
Yep. Improper configuration of your identity and access management. So there are a lot of policies, lot of rules, lot of accesses required by a single person to do their job. Privilege creeping is one of the biggest challenge. I move from one role to another role. I still holding the old privileges. Privilege creeping is a challenge right now. Shadow IT. I bring a lot of devices to my organization. Everyone is having a smartphone these days. These smartphones sometimes are better configured than our laptops now. They are bringing those devices and basically creating and stepping our network as well, using a lot of network as well, creating a shadow IT here. Cloud compliance. Believe it or not, 80% of the organization basically apply all these security as solutions or apply these clouds and everything for the compliance reason. Now it is becoming very difficult for the organizations like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, IBM to maintain their cloud because of different government and industry compliances. Indian government says that if you are using an Indian citizen's data center needs to be in India. America says the same, Europe says the same. How many different data centers I have to create? The patching of these data centers, applying the DevOps of this data center became a challenge now. So these are some of the challenges organizations are facing today. Just to mitigate this principle of least privileges. Minimum privilege should be assigned to do the job. Anyone who is requiring to do the job, only that person should be given the access. Multi-factor authentication. How many of you are using multi-factor authentication? Believe me, everyone is using it these days. Everyone is using the OTPs, right? So we unknowingly use those multi-factor authentications. We need to have a continuous and regular upskilling program, awareness programs in our organizations. We need to upskill ourselves as well on these latest topics. What are the impacts of Gen AI on cybersecurity? What are the impacts of quantum computers on cybersecurity? Anyone knows like what is going to happen once we are in powerful quantum computers? What will happen to our networks? What is the basis of our network security? TLS? Whole TLS will be broken. So now organizations and government is coming up with the new protocols. How do we basically remediate those, keep abreast of those, and keep awareness that way? Strong IT policies are required. So with this, I just wanted to give you a brief about what is happening in the industry in a world of security. We are the developers. When we create the applications, we need to keep these things in mind. Most of the time I've been developer once in my lifetime, and I did the same mistake. I create the functionalities. And then someone said, oh, have you applied the security? In haphazard manner, I created a login page. I created authorization, authentication later on. It wasn't patchwork. It was not the good security. Your security should start from thinking from the starting. When you are planning for the stuff, you should be thinking about the security as well. And this is where I will stop my session. I hope you like this session. I hope you learn something new. With this, we'll start the session today. All the best, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Rinkesh. Thank you very much. With that, can I have a huge round of applause for Rinkesh, please, once again?